Okay, so they're giving us a function. Here it is. And they're wanting us to plug in f of x plus h and then find f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. Okay, let's start. Let me write this a little better up here. Way to look on your screen. Minus 5x squared minus 5x minus 9. There we go. So that's our function. And then coming on down here, let me bring this part on down here. They want us to find f of x plus h. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that you have to take this function right here. Let me bring it down. But everywhere you've got x, remember the x's become blanks. The x is like a blank where you insert whatever you're plugging in. In this case, it's x plus h. So I'm going to plug in right there. In fact, let me just erase the x, because sometimes that confuses people. They think there's two x's or something. It's not that. So it's like that. There we go. I think this will be a helpful way for you to think about it. The x's are like blank parentheses. They're holes in the toaster. They're insert slots. It's where you plug in whatever is what being put in the parentheses. So I'm going to put in x plus h in both those spots. There we go. So I'm plugging in x plus h to both the places where simple x used to be. Because really, that simple x in this original function is just holding a place. It's a blank. It's an insert slot where you plug in what you need to plug in. So I'm plugging in the whole x plus h. All right, let's work it out. What's going to happen? Now it's going to be a lot of work because of these parentheses. So first off, I've got to write two of these guys. Now, a common mistake that students make, really, really common, and you want to get it out of your system now, if you're going to have any fighting chance to make it in calculus, you've got to be cured of some of your algebra mistakes if you're going forward to calculus. And here's one of the most common. Students think they can just make that x squared, I don't know why it's lagging. They think they can just make that x squared and h squared. That's not right. So it's okay if you're doing it now. You just don't want to be doing it when you get to calculus because there's too much else to worry about at that time. Let's get this out of our system right now. You cannot do that. That's simply not true. Why not? You got to write two of them. You can't just square the x and square the h. That's not true. Instead, you have to write two. A 2 on a parenthesis means two of those. So you have to write two of them, and then you've got to FOIL the whole thing, which I'll do in a minute. Let me keep going with the problem right now. Boom, boom. Minus 5x minus 5h minus 9. Yeah, now what am I going to do here? I'm going to FOIL this whole thing, meaning I'm going to take x to both, x squared plus xh, and then h to both, plus xh plus h squared, minus 5x minus 5h minus 9. Do you see what happened there? So these are really important lessons. I'm glad to go super slow and help you in any way I can with these. These are the most important things. This is the thing that'll make you do well in calculus. If you get all these algebra rules down, calculus will not be that bad. It really isn't. Calculus is only terrible for people that don't have their algebra rules down. Now's the time, this semester, let's get all these algebra rules down to pave the way for your future in math. Okay, so you see what happened there. So that was a FOIL, right? When two things are multiplying two things, what do? The first one goes to both, and the second one goes to both. First to both, second to both. That produces these four terms. Again, first to both, second to both. That's what you have to do. See how it's not just x squared, h squared. There is an x squared, there is an h squared, but there's also a couple things in the middle. That's why you can't just say square the x, square the h. It's not right. It skips the middle part. Instead, when there's a 2 on a parenthesis, you've got to write 2 of the parentheses and go first to both, second to both. All right, let's keep moving. So now what? Now this is x squared, xh plus xh. This is 1xh and 1xh. That's 2xh. Remember, like terms, when you're adding same letters, you add the numbers in front. In this case, there were no numbers in front, so it's really, there's one of each of them, which makes 2. It's not x squared h. That's the other mistake. Students are a little confused on the difference in rules between adding letters and multiplying letters. If it was xh times xh, yeah, that would be x squared h squared if we were multiplying. But we're not multiplying here. We're adding, right? These are adding. When you add, you just add the numbers in front. In this case, the invisible ones made 2xh. All right, please ask any of those rules. I'm glad to go over them. It's all these little rules that you need to get down to make calculus go smoothly. Okay, let's now take the -5 and we're going to go boom, 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 right? Anything in front of a parenthesis, a number, a sign, anything needs to multiply, distribute all the way through. So what are we going to get? Minus 5x squared minus 10xh minus 5h squared, and then I'll just bring down the other stuff. All right, we're almost done. This thing goes on and on and on and on and on. Well, I think actually that's it. Yeah, that's it. We're done right here. This is the answer to part A. Why? Why can't I go further? None of those are like terms. They all have a different letter pattern or no letter at all at the back, right? See how they all have something a little different? This is x squared, this is xh, this is h squared, this is x alone, h alone, plain number. So there we are, we're done with the first part. That's the answer to the first part. We combined as much as we can combine. You can only add, subtract like terms, things that have the same letter patterns. Now, for the big bad second part, let's go there. So now, f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. All right. That's what they want us to do in part 2. Well, in part 1, we found f of x plus h, which is this first part here, right? So that means this whole answer is f of x plus h, which goes right there. That whole answer is the first part of our thing, you see. All right, so let's do that. So I'm going to put parentheses. Well, let me just write it first up. Minus 5x squared minus 10xh minus 5h squared minus 5x minus 5h minus 9, all in parentheses, minus, and then at the back is going to go f of x. So this part came down here because that's f of x plus h. So all of this just came down right there, minus, and then here I'm supposed to put f of x. What is f of x? Well, they gave me that right up here in the beginning. Here's f of x, right? F of x is minus 5x squared. I forgot, what is it? Minus 5x minus 9. All over h. All right, is this making good sense so far? So f of x is right here. So this is f of x plus h minus f of x. All of this is f of x plus h. Right? It's all of this. It's f of x plus h minus, because it said minus, and then f of x, which is all of this. Okay, so we got to clean that up. Let's come on down. So I'm going to remove the parentheses. Remember, parentheses are like a floodgate. Anything in the front, any water in the front will rush on through, but we don't have, there's nothing here in the front of the first parenthesis. So there's nothing going to rush on through. But for the second parenthesis, this minus sign is going to go boom, boom, boom. Going to make it plus 5x squared plus 5x plus 9 all over h. Is that right? It was minus, minus, minus before, yeah? All right, we are to here. Now we cancel. 5 minus 5x squared plus 5x squared. Cancel. What else? Minus 5x plus 5x. Cancel. Minus 9 plus 9. Cancel. Look at that. A lot of canceling. Okay, so what's left? Minus 10xh minus 5h squared minus 5h all over h. All over h. So what are we going to do with that now? What is going to happen? So be good to hear so far. Right? A bunch of stuff cancels. We just have this, this, and this is all that we had left. Now, can I just cancel like h with h and boom, we're good? No, that's fully illegal. What you have to do is you have to cancel one from every term. You see, because that h, he's underneath all three of them. He doesn't just divide one of them. He divides all three of them, right? He's dividing all three, not just one of them. So watch out, that's a common mistake. So what are we left with? Minus 10x minus 5h minus 5. Right, this left h to the first power here because there was h squared there. And there we go. That's the answer to that question. Pretty messy business on that one. There we go.